Hey YouTube, I'm back with another video and day number, I don't remember, but it'll be linked in the video. But today I blanked out because I am a little bit excited about the video I'm posting today because it's about my story, and I gave you guys a little bit a while back when I first started my YouTube channel, and I think it deserves a new and fresh perspective. So yeah, specifically around how I manifested moving 14 hours away in less than 90 days. Let's talk about it, because when I say that your life doesn't have to be perfect, you don't have to be in the perfect emotion, the perfect vibe, you don't have to be in the perfect place in your life to be able to manifest your desires into reality or into your world, or level up your life, however it is that you're dealing with. And if there are other words that you guys use, let me know, drop it in the comments. Like the video. And yeah, so it all started off when I was young and just doing whatever. This was like, I want to say a couple of years. Well, it was like during COVID, post COVID. It was like in that in between phase. And in that phase, I had already graduated from college, and I had just got rid of a friend group that I no longer resonated with. And I was like by myself. And when I mean by myself, I meant like, I still have my family and things of that nature. I actually cut a piece of my family off, and I did a lot of different things that was just like very chaotic at the time. But we're not here to shame that piece of our lives, but we're here to bring light to it, because it's just hilarious thinking about where my life is right now with my family and everything. So yeah. So I will start with, I was basically like, in a situation type of thing where like, we weren't anything serious or whatever. And, there was some trauma there. And during that time, I was into like, tarot, and I was really big into like crystals and stuff like that, and channeling and using my gifts in a way, because it was all new to me. This world was kind of new to me. And so, yeah. And so, but I will say that I was in a very, very dark place, and it doesn't matter where you are, you could still manifest your life, even if you're depressed, even if you are in just a dark space in your life. You don't really know where you're supposed to be in life, and you haven't really figured out what your purpose is. You could still manifest stuff. It doesn't have to be this perfect plan. And yeah. And so throughout this process, I would watch like a whole bunch of like tarot reading videos, and I was just a little more not so grounded. That's kind of like what I would call that. And when I was in this phase, what did I do? I used to work for like a non-for-profit, and then I ended up quitting that, doing DoorDash on my own, and just like working myself to death. And then I ended up getting a reading from this girl. And when I got this reading from this girl, she basically told me that the guy that I was talking to, he was no good and I should leave him, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. And then she also told me basically what I thought my path or my destiny was. And so I used all of the anger that I had towards just like getting away from everybody and getting away from everything and just going after what I thought was my true destiny at the time. And that's okay, because you're never going, one thing that I realize now that I didn't know then is you're never going in the wrong direction. You're right where you're supposed to be, no matter what. There's no wrong direction. And with that being said, to continue the story, I basically, she ended up sending me this website to this school for chemical engineering, and because she told me that I was supposed to be doing something with chemistry and something like that, and then she had sent me a link and she was like, this might, do some good or whatever. And then during that time, that same girl, she was definitely in like spiritual psychosis, which, not knocking it, because everybody gets in some type of psychosis, whether it's religious or, spiritual. But she went on her page and, said some things about me, and it was weird because I never spoke to her after that reading. So it was just very weird. So after that, I was just like, okay, whatever. But by the time that kind of came out, the link that she sent me was like a link where like all of like the engineers are. It's like a big hub. And I didn't have the money at the time to pay for the membership to get into like the big hub for engineers. And then on top of that, my apartment at the time was trying to evict me because the leasing office stole the money that I got from like a rental assistance program. They stole the money. And so it was just so much. So I had to apply for another program to help me pay. Then I had to go to court, tell them what was going on, and give them the proof and stuff. This is throughout the whole entire process of me trying to become a chemical engineer. And I was telling, my father about it, and I was telling my father about it, and the way I spoke about it, my dad probably thought I was insane. But we're really like in sync with each other, so he gets me in a way that nobody else ever will. But shout out to my dad, because my father, that man supported me through some crazy times. But that's what great parents are for. So shouts out. So during that time, I'm trying to remember where I stopped off. Okay, I started off where we were talking about me, with the lease and all that stuff. And then we were talking about me trying to get into the engineering program. Okay, cool. So at the time, I didn't tell anybody about the engineering program. It was just me and the girl that had told me that I was supposed to be doing engineering. So when I emailed the chemical engineering, the platform, and I emailed them and it said, I don't know exactly what I said, but they ended up giving it to me for free, just because I asked for like the first 2 months or however long. And it is crazy because I have no background in chemical engineering. I told you I have a bachelor's in biology, right? And so when I say, all right, so the story, when I applied, okay, I got into the portal, and it's all these people, and I'm trying to figure out what to say, and some just tells me like, just be authentic, just be yourself, and just tell them where you are in life. And I just told them, hey, this is my background, and I'm very passionate about this. Would really love to be a chemical engineer, and looking for any graduate programs out there. send. When I tell you there's like 50 to 60,000 engineering people on all type of platforms, well, not platforms, but like subject areas. There's chemical engineering, environmental, civil, all of the things in this portal. And so, you know, when I sent that message, I kid you not, like, I want to say less than like 5 days to a week, probably faster than that, but you know, I get an inbox from someone from a university, a big university at that, DMs me and says they have a fellowship program that starts in January and I can apply. It's November. The deadline was November 20 something. You know the deadlines around, well, I don't know. If you're not familiar with like the deadline times, most deadlines for like graduate school programs and stuff like that, a lot of them are in November if they start in January. So I go to engineering cast, I'm networking, I'm calling all of my old professors and emailing all of my old professors that I've, you know, created a genuine relationship with. And one of them even told me throughout the process that, oh wow, they basically kind of said it as if like they didn't think I was gonna like, it wasn't possible because of my just having a bachelor's of science. I was like, you have a bachelor's of science and you're going into chemical engineering? Oh, okay. Huh. Well, good luck on your adventures. You know, if that falls through, he sent me another link to something else, another program, which respect. I love that professor still to this day. But yeah, so throughout this process, I was just like going. When I say that anger was just it just needed some place to go, because when I tell you I was so angry and all over the place and I was just sick of all the BS that was just happening, I was like, you know what? Forget it. Let's just do this 110%. And that's what I did, because I really wanted to get away. Like, I felt it in my bones that I just wanted to get away. I didn't even know where, when, who, how. I just wanted to get away. And that's what I did. I just followed the little signs that was given to me, and I was just like, and I went blindly, didn't have a clue what was really going on. So fast forward to, you know, networking. There's all this stuff you got to fill out. Mind you, I got about 2 weeks to fill this stuff out and have it done. This is including letters of recommendation that other people have to write, and me writing an essay and personal statement and all this other stuff, and getting my transcript, trying to get them on time from every school that I went to, you know, just the process. And I just trusted the process. It was just like, it was a very heated time, and I used that momentum, build it up in such a beautiful way. And then I got a new job at a science lab with my degree. They paid, you know, very well, and so I was like, okay, cool. This will help me get the money, so if I get into the school, I can go, you know, over there, 14 hours away from my hometown to go to graduate school, right? And so when I, you know, applied or whatever, some weeks passed, the deadlines passed, I started my new job, you know, all this good stuff, whatever, keeping my head low, all that good stuff. And then I didn't hear anything. And then the director of the program was like, oh, you should have heard back. I was like, no, actually, I haven't heard anything. And then about a week after that, well, I did hear, I guess, in a way. I just got like a nudge to check my to check my junk. Guys, make sure you guys are checking your junk mail. Because what was in that junk mail was an acceptance letter into the engineering fellowship program. Meaning, if you guys don't know what a fellowship program is, it's when they pay you to go to school. And this was with like a dual program. And so this was with like, this was Amgen and the chemical engineering school at the school that I was at. And as I was like writing all the letters and stuff to submit for the program, I found way back, like 4 years back, I think my freshman and sophomore year, I had wrote about working at Amgen. So I just thought that was just a funny little thing that I was like, what? When did I write this? And it was for some class that I took, to get an assignment done. And so, yeah, and I got in. And, you know how parents are, like when, they're not in your vision or see your vision quite yet. But when you're speaking, like I kept speaking as if it already happened. I was just like, I don't know what's going to happen in my life, but something great is going to happen, because anytime something crumbles, it's always the time for something new. And I just kept saying it over and over to my dad. I was like, Dad, no, I don't need to worry about none of this. Like, I understand what you're saying, but like, it's just, I just know. And I didn't tell him throughout any of the process, but after I got accepted, I needed to tell him because I was going to need his help. And I was like, Dad, I got in. And I sent him a screenshot of the letter, because when I say I could barely believe it, I literally pinched myself. Like, I did the thing. I was like, it hurts. It's real. Like, I had to really like process it, because this happened less than 90 days. And this was before I even knew what manifestation really was, what like any of like these fancy words were. I just had this feeling that like anytime something crumbles, my brain just knows it is time for something new to happen and to take action. And yeah, did I continue with the program? I may or may not continue that story. I don't know. So, let me know in the comments if y'all want to know the rest of the story. But long story short, I ended up moving 14 hours away, less than 30 days, already getting paid, money saved up from my little job that I got, and I put in my 2 weeks there after working there for like a month, out of respect in case I wanted to work there in the future. You never know. And yeah, so I say all that to say is, I don't know who needs to hear this, but it don't matter where you're at, where you came from, what you got going on. Mind you, I had a bachelor's of science. Nothing to do with engineering. That is not normal. But you get to create your life. And after that experience, I realized that you can create your life. And God will help you. You just have to do the work and be disciplined and have a no matter what mentality. Go in 110%. It doesn't matter if it doesn't work. It doesn't matter. Just try your best. Just ask yourself, what would happen if I truly gave it my all. Because this is why I'm here on YouTube consistently. I've never been this consistent on camera. So ask yourself, what would happen if you gave it your all? What would happen? And sit in that and cherish that. Don't worry about the how. Please don't. Don't ever do that. Because that's what I did at the beginning of the story when she first sent me the link to the engineering program. I was like, how am I gonna be an engineer? Like the thought process I had was how, I was like, okay, she said that I should be a chemical engineer. She sent me this random platform, not an application to an engineering thing. And I was like, how am I gonna? And then I just gave up and I just said, I don't know. After I said that, it was like a light bulb went off. Once I trusted the process, like something literally, God said, bloop, here you go. And something told me to just write, introduce yourself, what you're about, boom, boom, boom. It wasn't even perfect. I was terrible at writing. I haven't wrote in a while. I've been graduated a couple years back. Ain't really wrote no papers like that. Like that type of thing. But it led me to where I am now, and I am so glad because the way that this city that I live in has transformed my life inside and out in the best way. I truly want this for everybody. And this is why I'm here. To teach you guys how I did it, because there are so many other stories that I haven't shared with you guys yet. But this is one of the ones that was on my heart to share today. Because it was so powerful. And as I reflect on, you know, all of the different ways that I've done this before. It's a formula to it. And it's not about manifestation. It's about trusting the process, trusting yourself, listening and being discerning, or trusting your intuition. Same thing, different places. Listening to yourself, same thing, different places. But throughout these processes, that's the inner work. And when I realized the inner work is not necessarily journaling and processing and doing somatic exercises all day, once I realized that inner work isn't all that, yes, that's important, but there becomes a time where you need to embody it. It needs to be in you. And you need to move it. You need to move your body. You need to go where you're supposed to be. So, with that being said, I actually am taking coaching calls now. So there is a link in my bio if you'd like to set an inquiry. Just, tell me your name and what would you like to work on, because I consider myself a spiritual life coach. And yeah, it was a pleasure. Like, subscribe, tell me guys what you think, and if you guys have any subjects that you would like me to talk about, anything like that. Yeah, see you guys in the next video. Bye.